Hey, I got a question for you guys. Did you get a notification for this video on your phone? If you did, type me. What that also means is you are part of the exclusive Noti Gang here on the Chiefs Report. If you didn't get a notification, that probably means you haven't turned on notifications. So for you to join the Noti Gang, this is all you got to do. After you've subscribed, if you haven't, you should go ahead and do that. Click the bell and then select all. That way you never miss a video. It's going to send you notifications for when our videos come out. That way you're not the guy who's catching it a day or two later some of the time. You just stumble across it on YouTube. You can see the videos as soon as they come out. So I encourage you to join the Noti Gang, and let's get into today's show. All right, lots of contract stuff to get into on today's Chiefs Report. Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes. We'll get into the quarterback here in just a minute. But let's start with Jones and the Chiefs. Apparently, the two parties have not had contract discussions since the Chiefs placed the franchise tender on Chris Jones, which he has not signed. He has not participated in the virtual offseason program. He obviously wants a long-term deal. Now, the Chiefs maintain they want to keep him long-term, but they got other issues. They want to keep Patrick Mahomes for the duration of his career, which his contract, he's up for an extension. Will they be able to keep Jones long-term? Hopefully, that's the goal. Now, that doesn't mean the two sides haven't talked at all and that there's bad blood, but there just hasn't been contract discussions between the two sides. This is from Jeremy Fowler of ESPN saying, while Chris Jones hasn't signed his franchise tagger, he has kept in touch with the Chiefs as they hold virtual meetings, I'm told. Not much about on the contract front, but both sides have until July 15th. High-end market defensive tackles is $20+ million per year. Now, he's certainly not Aaron Donald, so he's not going to get $23 million or whatever that is. But $20 million for any player at this point not named Patrick Mahomes is a lot of money for the Chiefs because they already get paid Frank Clark a lot of money. They paid Tyreek Hill. Even though they restructured Sammy Watkins, he still costs a lot of money. Tyrann Mathieu, you can't pay everybody. Now, I hope Chris Jones and the Chiefs get a long-term deal done, but they may not fork over $20 million per year. They might just play him on the tag this year at around $16 million and let him walk next year, or tag him again next year and trade him. That's very much a possibility for the Kansas City Chiefs when it comes to Chris Jones. So what do you think? Over, under $20 million per year for Chris Jones. I want you to type O for over or type U for under. I'll make this the pinned comment on today's video, so if you get hit with the ad break, go ahead and cast your votes down there. And when you're talking about Chris Jones, there's a reason he's in the mix for a contract like that, because not many defensive tackles get after the quarterback like Chris Jones does. Aaron Donald does, but who else does? Not really anybody. Chris Jones is kind of that number 2 defensive tackle in the NFL when it comes to rushing the quarterback. Now, the production was slightly down last year, but remember, new defense, 3-4 to a 4-3. He was banged up, missed 3 games. I think he's going to be a 10-plus sack guy again here in 2020, and he's irreplaceable. Even if you trade him for a first-round pick, the chances that you get a Chris Jones caliber player, very slim. That's why the Chiefs don't want to do that unless they have to. They were willing to do it with Dee Ford because they brought in Frank Clark, who was an upgrade, but Chris Jones, you're not getting that production from the interior from anybody else. You're not just finding those guys. They don't grow on trees. There's only a couple of them in the NFL for a reason. Him and Frank Clark have the potential to be one of the best 1-2 punches in the NFL for a long time. We'll see if the Chiefs are able to make it happen with Chris Jones. All right, guys, I hope you're staying safe out there. We all want football season to return. Just 100 days away from the Chiefs opener. We'll talk about that later on as well. But if you're able to go to a game this year, you'll probably have to wear a face mask. So why not wear a Chiefs face covering? Go to chatsports.com/ChiefsMask. We're a little backordered right now, so it won't ship to you right away, but it will get to you in plenty of time, well before the 2020 season. Represent the Chiefs in style and continue to stay safe at chatsports.com/ChiefsMask. All right, let's talk about Patrick Mahomes now. This is certainly the priority and a big reason why Chris Jones has not been taken care of yet, at least in my opinion, because you have to take care of your franchise quarterback first, especially when you have, I don't even know if it's arguable at this point, the best player in the league. You got to handle that first. Patrick Mahomes is number 1. That's just the reality of the situation. Now, there's tons of speculation flying around on what the contract could be. Oh, $50 million. Now, this is the recent idea that I'm intrigued with. I don't think it's very likely, but the idea of giving him a percentage of the cap deal, whatever that number is, hey, Mahomes, you get 20% of whatever the cap is every year moving forward. That hasn't really been done before, but it's not it's not against NFL policy. You can do this. Now, an anonymous NFL agent told the Kansas City Star that teams prefer certainty in player contract amounts, despite the year-to-year uncertainty of the cap. Besides, few players will have the leverage to demand that kind of term. Now, Mahomes is probably one of, if not the only guy who could demand that, but keep in mind, the cap may go down this year with the big C. Less fans in the stadium means less revenue. That's how it works. So the cap may actually go down in 2020. So he probably actually wouldn't want to do that type of a deal right now. Here's what I know. Patrick Mahomes has all the leverage when it comes to contract negotiations because he is the best player at the most important position, and he's 24 years old. He's going to get a lot of money. Like, if he wants $47 million per year, he'll get it. If the Chiefs don't get it to him, someone else will. Like, he's going to get a ton. Now, I don't think he's going to ask for $47 million per year, but don't be shocked if he gets 40 plus. Like, he's that good. He's worth every penny. I don't know if a player in sports history has ever had as much leverage when it comes to contract negotiations as Patrick Mahomes does. So let me know, how much would you give him per year? I'm comfortable giving him $40 million per year. Especially, even if it doesn't this year, the cap will start to go up again with new TV deals and that sort of thing. Give him $40 million per year and call it a day. All right, let's talk about some free agency rumors. Bleacher Report went through all 32 teams and presented one deal that every team could still do. How about signing Tavon Wilson? That's what they proposed. I don't hate this idea. The secondary could use some help. You lost Kendall Fuller, who played a little bit of safety last year. Tavon Wilson could offer you a nickel and safety versatility. Now, he's more of a safety, but keep in mind, too, Juan Thornhill is recovering from ACL surgery. You don't want to rush him back. He's a second-year player. He's young. You've invested a lot in him by taking him in the second round last year. So bring in a veteran like Tavon Wilson for probably like $2 million, and at worst, okay, you're loaded back there at depth behind Thornhill, Matthew, and Dan Sorensen. Then you have Tavon Wilson. That's a pretty good package of safeties on the back end. Now, he's not an incredible player by any means, but he's a vet. He's been around. He knows how to play the position. He's still young enough, and he can do some different things for you in some nickel sub packages. Like, I think he's really good in the box, and he could help in some of those different areas, give you some different looks. And most importantly, you don't have to rush Thornhill back if you get another guy back there. Now, you could roll with Sorensen and Matthew early on if Thornhill's not ready. You don't want to play these other guys, though. Armani Watts is okay, more of a special teams player. But I mentioned, too, the nickel versatility. I think Rashad Fenton's going to be a good nickel, but I don't know that for sure. He's a second-year player. I like what I saw last year. I think bringing in Tavon Wilson makes a lot of sense, or really just any veteran safety if you can get somebody for cheap. Obviously, you're not going to invest a lot of money in any free agents at this point other than your own, a.k.a. Chris Jones, but I do think this is a possibility. Should the Chiefs sign Tavon Wilson? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. All right, guys, I mentioned to join the Noda Gang earlier, but to do that, you have to subscribe to the Chiefs Report first. Once you subscribe, you can join the Noda Gang as well by hitting that bell and clicking all. Here's the deal. You're probably thinking, I think the word subscribe scares people. Like, subscribe, it's commitment. It's free. It's not like a lot of these other websites where you have to subscribe and pay a monthly fee. It's free, and it makes it easier to find our videos. So why wouldn't you do it? We're almost putting out videos every single day. No one's going to cover the Chiefs like we are here on YouTube. So go ahead and give us a sub and turn on notifications. All right, let's talk about Willie Gay a little bit more. We talked about him a few videos back, and look, he's getting more and more praise from national media. James Palmer of the NFL Network said he's the type of player the Chiefs have been looking for at this position because for different reasons. His athleticism, his explosiveness, he has excellent range. I like Damian Wilson and Anthony Hitchens. They're good leaders. They're decent players. They're not high-level athletes, though. They don't have great speed at the linebacker position, and you need at least one of those guys that can fly around in today's NFL. Now, I think the Chiefs are going to start him at the Sam spot, kind of rotate him in, work him into this defense early on, but I think he's got a real shot of being the best linebacker on this team moving forward. Here's James Palmer talking about a conversation Andy Reid had with Dan Mullen, who's now at Florida but was the former Mississippi State head coach, saying Andy Reid talked to Dan Mullen, and Mullen said that he's the best running back at the high school level he's ever seen. That shows you the kind of athlete they're getting at the linebacker spot. That's saying quite a lot because there's been some unreal high school running backs throughout the years, and to say that Willie Gay Jr. has been the best one, and now he plays linebacker, he's a 4.45 guy, he can fly around. If his head is on straight, he can be a 10-year pro at the linebacker position. I truly believe that. I think he's got the most talent out of anybody on this roster. Hitchens and Wilson, they're serviceable, they're solid, but Willie Gay Jr., he could be, who knows, he could be an all-pro type of player down the line, at least a Pro Bowl level talent in my opinion. So I'm excited to watch this kid. I hope the Chiefs don't expect too much too early, but I think he's got a real shot to be a big-time player. Now, at the beginning of the season, it's probably asking too much for Willie Gay to be the best linebacker. But who will be the best by the end of the season, by Week 17, heading into the playoffs? Type H for Anthony Hitchens, type W for Tavon Wilson, type G for Willie Gay Jr. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to type my G for Willie Gay Jr. And speaking of the season, guys, we're getting close. I saw this pop up on my feed today on Twitter. Guys, we're 100 days away. Chiefs-Texans Thursday Night Football, 100 days away from the Super Bowl title defense starting. I can't wait. September 10th, we're closing in. Hopefully training camp, will go on as scheduled. It seems that things are starting to clear up as regarding the Big C goes. Look, obviously the Chiefs are early favorites to win Super Bowl 55. We saw how this matchup went in the playoffs last year. Houston's certainly going to want some revenge, but I like the Chiefs' chances to make a deep run this year. Obviously, I like their chances in Week 1. Super Bowl teams kicking off the season typically do pretty well, so I think Kansas City's going to roll in Week 1 to start off the season right. Predict the score for me. Way too early predictions for Chiefs versus Texans in Week 1. Off the top of my head, I don't like the Texans defense. I'll go 38-20. I think the Chiefs roll to kick off the season. That, of course, will start, the 17-week schedule, which will, obviously the Chiefs have a target on their back. You guys know that. Texans will be coming at them. You got the Chargers, the Ravens next couple of weeks. Week 3 at Baltimore is going to be interesting. Lots of interesting games on the schedule. You got the Bills. I think the Jets will be better. You get them at home, though, which should help. Obviously, you got the Week 10 bye, which I'm a fan of. Later on in the season, you can kind of retool and gear up for the, stretch run before the playoffs. Week 12 against the Tampa Bay Bucks. And then the stretch run looks like this. Broncos at Miami, at New Orleans, and then the Falcons and Chargers at home. I can't wait. 100 days away from Week 1 against the Houston Texans. The countdown starts right now.